it's time to open the public meeting. Welcome, everyone, to the September 2nd, 2025 meeting of the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals. All board members are participating remotely, and those board members are Mr. Rob Rosa, Mr. Baker Jr., Mr. Baker Sr., Mr. Galley, and myself, Greg Tansey. Please be advised that this hearing is being videotaped by audio and visual means via Zoom. Any member of the public who wishes to participate must identify themselves by their name and address. There are 5 voting members here tonight, and the members who will be voting on this project will be Mr. Stephen Galley, Mr. Robert Baker Jr., Mr. Robert Baker Sr., Mr. Rob Rosa, and myself, Acting Chair Greg Tansey. At this point, I would like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Okay. And seconded by?
Second.
So the motion to open was made by Mr. Robert Baker Jr. and it was seconded by Mr. Stephen Galley.
Mr. Chairman, I think Mr. Rosa beat me to it by milliseconds.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to give you the credit. I'm giving you the credit.
That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
So at this point, I'd like to take a roll call vote to open the public hearing. Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
Mr. Stephen Galley.
Yes.
Mr. Robert Rosa.
Yes.
And myself is a yes. Okay, so that's unanimous. At this point, I am going to read in the public hearing notice. So, I'm sorry. So notice is hereby given in accordance with Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 11 and 15, that a virtual remote public hearing will be held by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. on the application submitted by Douglas and Catherine Wallow of Carey Street, Rockland, Mass. For a General Laws, Chapter 48, Section 6 finding pursuant to zoning bylaws, Section 41524, non-conforming uses B, alteration. Pre-existing non-conforming structures or uses may be extended or altered, provided that no such extension or alteration shall be permitted unless there is a finding by the Zoning Board of Appeals that the extension or alteration is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing non-conforming structure or use. Applicant is seeking to replace the existing entryway bump out with a 9-foot by 4-foot entryway with a 9-foot by 3-foot overhang. The property is located in the R2 Residence Zoning District, Section 41509 of the zoning bylaws, and is further identified as Lot 38, Map 125 on the Rockland Assessors Maps. The owners of the property are Douglas and Catherine Wallow, 77 Carey Street, Rockland, Mass. Okay, so at this point, I would like to give the applicant the opportunity to present their case.
Good evening, committee. My name is Doug Wallow of 77 Carey Street, Rockland, Mass.
I'm Katie Wallow, same address.
So thank you for having us tonight. We are coming before the group to ask for a Section 6 consideration for a project that we're excited to do. Just a little bit about us. I grew up in the town of Rockland, and my wife and I met in college, and I have a lot of family in the town of Rockland. So, initially we thought, oh, we need to get away. So we moved to Whitman initially upon marriage, and had a family and started really thinking about what our forever home was going to be and where we wanted to really raise our family, and couldn't think of a better community coming back to Rockland. So we were excited to come back and buy this property, 77 Cary Street, which is actually my family home. I bought it for my mom. So little history with this house. It's a lovely old house, but it needs a lot of work in a lot of different ways. So we've been working on little things here and there. We did an addition in 2017 to give ourselves a master suite and give our boys each their own bedroom. 3 boys, you can't have them sharing. You know how that would go. But I don't want to go too much more on that. The real reason we're coming today is that I mentioned in our application that we have it's a raised ranch. So along the entire front of the oldest portion of the dwelling is a 4-foot like roof overhang, and it started deteriorating. So one of the pillars has fallen down. There's some dry rot. There's some wet rot because of some roof issues. So it probably needs to be completely rebuilt. And we're not in love with it. It's a little bit of a dated style. It doesn't really match the addition that we did in 2017. So, and there's a couple issues with it that, having lived in the house for this long and now, living in it with our family, we're hoping to kind of, make a landing that's a little bit more user friendly for us. So, when people come in, I don't know if sure you've all been a raised ranch. That landing area is very, very small. And you immediately are confronted with, well, where do I go and how do I fit everybody in? You're kind of forced up and downstairs immediately. In fact, I said that like the space, when that door swings, it swings just 5 inches away from the front, the first step, the corner of that first step heading up, which is very, very tight. So my poor wife actually broke her foot thanks to carrying some laundry and getting kind of caught up going around the corner. So so we'd like to get a little bit more space there, moving furniture up and down, practical things like that. We also obviously have to address the current roof overhang. So one way or the other, we got to fix that because it's becoming potential safety issue and structural issue. And then the last thing is we're just hoping to kind of connect the addition that we built in 2017 to the old building, like make it look like they belong to each other and they match. And the architect who did our original design kind of, we suggested something we might want to do someday, and so he drew up some plans, and we've been saving and kind of festering and trying to figure out how to do this, and now we're at that point. So, we think that this project will give us a little bit more of a kind of user-friendly home, a little bit safer, addressing that structural issue. And then we think it fits the neighborhood. It's not a big gaudy addition. It's not anything that doesn't fit in. I know you all are the ones who are ultimately the judge of that. So this is just our take. There are a number of homes that are, on this street that are very, very close, far closer now and even closer after we were to build this addition. So what we're proposing is like a 9x4 entryway addition, so on a foundation, so to create a little bit more space on that landing with a 9x3 covered entry. So you'd go up a step or two, you have a small landing space, and then inside you go. So you all have, I think, copies of all the plans so you can see it. Is there anything else? No. So I think that's the gist of it.
Very good. Okay. Any questions, Mr. Robert Baker Sr.?
None at this time, Greg.
How about Mr. Robert Baker Jr.?
No, based on the applicant's presentation and the documentary submissions, I have no questions at this time. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Sure. Mr. Stephen Galley?
I have a question I'm going to say it to the board, if someone can answer this to me. If this house were being built now and the overhang were going to be built as it exists now, would that be non-conforming? It would be denied because it sticks out beyond the 25-foot setback. The 4-foot overhang that exists, would that have been approved or denied?
Well, it wouldn't. What a Section 6 finding is the existing structure itself is non-conforming. So any work.
I'm sorry, Mr. Tanzi. What I'm saying is, if the house were to be built fresh today as it exists, like it was an empty lot, and they wanted to put that 4-foot overhang there,
It would need a
would that have been approved or denied?
it
It
would need a variance.
would need a variance.
Okay. So it could potentially have been approved.
With a
It might have
variance,
been approved under some circumstance.
it would need a variance to be built this way today.
Okay,
That overhang constitutes a porch because it's an overhang that's ground supported. An overhang like that that's ground supported technically is a porch or a covered entry, depending on how you want to look at it. This just happens to be 2 stories tall.
all right,
And
go ahead.
no offense, Wallow's really ugly.
Fine.
Thank you. Thank you. That's
We
that,
don't like it either.
that answers my question well enough. Thank you very much.
Okay,
That's the only
Mr.
question at this time.
Rob Rosa?
No, absolutely no questions at this time. The application was more than sufficient.
Yeah. I just have one question. The new overhang that's going to be at a lower elevation than the existing overhang, or is it going to be at the same elevation?
Correct. It's not going to come off of the existing roof line of the old dwelling. It's going to be like a little what do they call it? Like an A-frame, like a dormered kind of to it.
Okay.
It'll be lower than there is a yeah, I think the plans kind of give you a little bit of a feel of it.
Yeah,
Peak will
I
be pretty
saw
close to it, but not quite all the way to it.
okay. I mean, that was my only question. At this point, is there anybody in the general public who would like to speak opposed to this project? Seeing none. Anybody in the general public who would want to speak in favor of this petition? Okay. Hearing none. Yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm not general public, obviously, but one thing I just wanted to add to the point that was raised a little bit about this. I did ask our surveyor to do some calculations for us to calculate how much of the existing overhang is in the setback area, and his calculations determined it was 117 and a half square feet. So this new proposed structure would be a net reduction of 63 and a half square feet, so 54%. So even though we're yielding back some of what is existing.
Yes, I saw that on the plan.
I meant to mention it in my presentation, sorry.
That's okay.
You had it in the application too, so you were pretty well covered.
So, all right. So are there any further questions from the board? No? All right. Can I entertain a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay.
Second,
Okay, so it was the motion was made by Mr. Baker Senior, and it was seconded by Mr. Stephen Galley.
was it Junior that made the motion? Or?
I'm sorry, Mr. Baker Jr. I'm sorry.
I wasn't going to say anything. I already got away with one tonight.
Yeah, you already cheated once on motions. You know, your school board's already been cheated. So.
All right, so roll call vote. Mr. Stephen Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Robert Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Robert Baker Senior,
Yes,
Mr. Rob Rosa,
Yes,
and I'm a yes as well. Okay, so the public hearing section is closed. We will make a determination tonight. We'll deliberate over it. You're welcome to stay on. There's another quick meeting after this, and we've probably got some business with the board afterwards. But we will deliberate tonight, take a vote on it. you'll get the board's decision in the mail. If it's a favorable decision, what you'll do is there'll be a date stamp on it. They'll have to wait 21 days, go down to the town hall, get a certificate of non appeal, and the decision and that non-appeal get recorded, and then you can, hire your contractor and commence building. So that's the process. So at this point, we'll move on to the next agenda item. And this is 157 Market Street. And so notice is hereby given in accordance with the Massachusetts application, Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 48, Sections 11 and 15. A virtual remote public meeting will be held by the Rockland Zoning Board of Appeals on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. on the application submitted by Rockland FCU of 241 Union Street, Rockland, Mass. For a dimensional variance pursuant to the zoning bylaw sections 415.22, building and lot regulations, and section 415-89.1 variances. The applicant is proposing to install a canopy, which will be an extension of the new building to cover the driveway, the drive-up window, and ATM service area. The proposed overhang will extend within 9.8 feet of the sideline to enable construction of a bank and allowed use in the business 2 zoning district as per section 415.14A2. With a drive-up window special permit per section 415.14C13 and the demolition of a former Burger King restaurant. The property is located in the B2 Business Zoning District, Section 415-14 of the zoning bylaws, and is further identified as Lot 94, Map 51 on the Rockland Assessors Map. The owner of the property is Rockland FCU, 241 Union Street, Rockland, Mass. Okay, so we got a letter from the applicant's attorney this afternoon, and what they asked was for a continuance. They're going to revise the plan. They're going to try to make this bank work without the need of a variance, but they asked us to keep this public hearing open and continue it to a further date, just in case they need to. So I'd like to make a motion, entertain a motion to continue this application.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, do we have to open the public hearing before we allow that motion? Otherwise, it would have to be
yeah.
advertised again.
Yeah. Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to open the public hearing for this application.
So moved.
So moved. Seconded. Maybe.
Second.
Seconded by Rob Rosa. Okay. Roll call vote. All in favor. Mr. Baker Jr.
Yes.
Mr. Baker Sr.
Yes.
Mr. Galley.
Yes.
Mr. Rosa.
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay. So, like I've already stated, the applicant has made a request for a continuance. They did it in writing. They submitted it to the board this afternoon. They're going to try to revise their plan such that they can make it work without a variance.
Did they give a suggested date or length of continuance? Or?
No, they didn't. They didn't. But
Greg,
suppose-
when are our next meetings? Do we know offhand?
2
Allison,
weeks, I'm sorry, 2 weeks from tonight would be the 16th,
What's the next one after that?
the 23rd.
Of September?
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to grant the request for continuation till September 23rd at 7:30.
Oh, do we already have a meetings? Do we have 3 meetings scheduled for this month? Or are you just saying it's the next Tuesday after the next?
So we don't have any agenda items but for this that we have a full application for. So I guess if we wanted to, if another application were to come in this week, we could publicly notice it for the 2 required weeks. Other than that, you can stick with the 16th, but we don't technically, we have a schedule that we follow, which is the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays of the month. But my understanding is if you don't have anything on the agenda, you're not required to meet unless someone else has different information and they want to share that.
Yeah, I don't want to make a 3rd week of the month. If we don't have to. I don't know how to.
Greg or Rob might have a better idea on this than I do, but is 2 weeks, given that architectural stuff is being addressed here, is the reason for the continue. I don't think 2 weeks is going to be enough.
30 days minimum, and it'll probably continue again.
So why don't we do the first Tuesday of October?
Good idea. I see that as the 7th, but I could be wrong.
You're correct, it's the 7th.
I'll amend my motion to October 7th at 7:30.
I'll second that.
okay, so the motion was made, the motion was seconded, made by Mr. Robert Baker Senior and seconded by Mr. Rosa. Roll call vote, all in favor, Mr. Baker Junior,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Senior,
Yes,
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Rosa,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay, so that that meeting has been continued to October 7th. At this point, I'd like to
Open up deliberation.
yeah, make a motion to open up deliberation. Do I have a
You don't need it.
motion? Don't need it. All
No.
right. Well, let's deliberate on the first application then. Not really a whole lot to talk about. It was, I
I'm
thought it
under
was,
the impression that this seems reasonable to approve because they're reducing their nonconformity and it's going to be even less of a nonconformity than it already was.
yeah, I agree. I mean, there's less less surface area in the setback zone. I think architecturally, it sounds like it would be a good addition to the neighborhood from a curb appeal standpoint. I don't know if any other members have any other opinions or any thoughts on it, Mr. Rosa?
2 things. There's 2 because of there's 2 things that we have to look at. It's a section 6 finding and the variance. My opinion is that this is 100% valid for a section 6 finding, because if you go just to the main house and if you start off at the front right corner, That's already in the setback. That's 22.5 into the
Yeah.
setback. Then you look at the porch is already 18.3. So that's well into the setback. If you
Right,
keep going along the face, there's that 2-foot bump out. That's kind of like the entryway.
yeah,
That's still also like 22.5 feet away from the street line. So the whole, and even the fact that the far left corner is 25 feet, the entire front of the house is in the front setback. So by the time it's all said and done, while they are, and I agree with everybody, while they are still going further into the setback, they're reducing the amount overall. And it's gonna look way better. It's the I would like to see a section 6 finding here. It makes the most sense. But then also when it comes to the variance, we would have to, if that was the case, if we go with the section 6 finding, then we would have to vote that we would have to deny the variance as moot.
because of the section 6 finding. I think it's very important to make that distinction, because we wouldn't want it to be misinterpreted as a denial of the project.
Mhm. So the first thing I would suggest, if that were the case, and if that were the flavor of the board, as a previous chair used to say, you approve the section 6 finding. You cite in the case, since we've been doing this, we've been citing, and again, I can never remember the name of that case, that court case that at the time was dealing with FAR, but everybody's been able to use to justify continuing a pre-existing non-conforming thing. Again, I don't know what the case is, but I know Attorney Galvin will know that. And then if that was the way the board decides to go, then we deny the variances. Two individual votes.
I agree with Mr. Rose's position on this, section, section 6 finding, and would support approval of that.
And the denial of the variance as being moot.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
But as Mr. Rose has suggested, we can't deny the variance is moot until we've acted positively. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So do we want to take a motion to for the section 6 finding, act on the section 6 finding? Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the section 6 finding that the proposed addition and covered entry is no more non-conforming than at all, is no more detrimental than what is already existing.
Okay.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Baker Jr. All in favor, roll call vote. Mr. Baker Senior,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Rosa,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'd like to entertain a motion from the board to deny the variance request as being moot due to the action made on the section 6 finding.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Got a
Okay,
second on that.
All right, so the motion was made by Mr. Robert Baker Jr. It was seconded by Mr. Rosa. Roll call vote, all in favor, Mr. Baker Senior,
Yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Rosa,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. Okay. Very good. Um, do
That's
you
it.
want to add, do we want to add a condition to that, that finding that work has to be in conformance with the approved plan and that a as-built plan is submitted to the building department? We've
Mhm.
done that in the past. They're reasonable, conditions. Robert, what do you feel about that?
Foundation as built, definitely. I know Tom's probably gonna require that regardless, because it's a new foundation that's going in the ground. So the one thing that I would like to see, and this technically would come after, and you may be able to talk, Wallows, you may want to talk to the building inspector on this one just to save time. Because typically, a foundation as built only covers the foundation. It's not necessarily gonna cover the covered entry. Unless it's all proposed to be on one foundation, which I don't believe it was. If I look at the renderings, I don't believe it was proposed to be like one giant foundation. So talk to the building inspector, see if he's okay with this, but my suggestion would be to save you time and money to have the surveyor come out once. And that would be to locate the new foundation, which is only the 9x4, but also the covered entry, because that's also a part of this. So the board would want to see both. The measurements from the measurements of the covered entry and the foundation, but also the measurements from the covered entry and the foundation to the street line. So the front offsets, setbacks.
Yep.
So talk to Tom, see if he's okay with that. He probably will be. And like I said, it's just to save you guys some time and money, because you'll get hit every time the surveyor comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So, Mr. Chair, acting chair, does that sound reasonable?
Oh, yeah. Yep. I agree with it.
Board members, other board members, is everybody okay with that?
I am.
Yeah,
All right, no, there you go. So I guess that would be the two conditions.
Yeah. Yep.
Done.
Great. Thank you.
Best of luck, folks.
I was raising my hand to be acknowledged, but
Oh,
thank you all for reviewing this. We appreciate it. We're very excited. So thank you very much.
Congratulations.
All right, take care. We're gonna leave you to your reorganization. Those are always fun.
Thank you.
All right.
thanks.
Good night.
Mr. Tanzi, I think that I will leave you guys with the rest of this to kind of sort out. I don't really play a role in this. The only caveat that I would like to share is where it says potential change to once a month meeting schedule. That was not my recommendation. That was a recommendation put forward from Attorney Galvin. I have no opinion on that. So good luck to everyone. Have a good night.
Allison, before you leave, did Bob submit anything giving his rationale for that recommendation?
No, this was over a very brief Zoom meeting that I had with him and Doug about trying to find, I think there's been challenges, not just with the zoning board of appeals, but with all boards and committees trying to get like alternates and, you know, people to run for certain offices. And he thought that part of that might be because of scheduling, where people might feel like it's a big commitment to be able to say that they could be present at two nights a month. But yeah, I don't have an opinion on it. That was just a recommendation. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, so with the reorg, Mr. Baker Senior has expressed an interest in being the chairman. Is that still true, Bob?
yes.
Yes. All right.
The reason for that is that I'm retired now. And I am totally retired now because of my health condition, which is getting better every day.
Good, glad to hear that.
But I will be around so that if something at town hall has to be signed or something has to be done at the town hall, I will be there, during the day to do it.
Just a procedural question, Mr. Chairman, or anyone who knows. And something I've never asked, but do we operate under Robert's Rules of Order?
Yes, we do.
Okay, then there probably should be a motion to open nominations for the position of chair.
All right, make a motion to reorganize the board with making nominations to for reappointments to the chair.
And just another point of order, and nominations can be self-made and they don't require a second.
Oh, okay. So I still need to take, we need to have a motion to reorganize the board, right?
Well, I think the only thing that's being dealt with in terms of offices is the chair. Is that correct?
Then you need a vice chair and
Well, we already have one of those.
Yeah, but we have to, technically,
year
you
you
have
have
to do
to
it
do it
once a
over.
year anyway,
But
technically.
how far back did we do it? That was
The last time that we did this was May. I think I think the town has gotten to a point where they're dealing with all the appointments and reappointments in May. And I think we did ours the zoning board did theirs either in May or June.
okay. So, and this is just one person's opinion, but since they're annual appointments, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So if we do all offices tonight, then it would come due in September rather than May. Right now, the only vacancy is the chair,
Mm-hmm.
and that would run consistent with the other terms and be up again in May with everything else.
Mm-hmm. But it's
So-
also subject to the other board members if they want to give up their position.
Right.
So-
I'm talking about voting just on the chair versus voting.
Actually, there's a opening for vice chair because Greg is acting.
Right, but once we elect a chair, Greg goes back to being the vice chair.
He can go back to being the vice chair.
If he wants, of course, all of it's subject to
Right.
if they want. Similarly with Steve, if he
And
wants.
he can put his name in to be the chairman too.
I was under the impression that Greg is vice chair, but is
He is.
acting chair because we don't have an appoint. I don't want to say appointed. We don't have. I guess appointed is the best word I can come up with. Chair. So my impression is that his title really is vice chair, even though he's acting chair.
Right, and he doesn't relinquish the vice chairmanship just by virtue of being acting chair. Assuming he wants to stay vice chair, if he's not elected chair, he just go back to being vice chair.
What if we were to agree that any appointments were to be expired as of the normal reappointment, timeline,
Well, that's what we would do for the chair, but everything else is already in place. We don't need to do anything to make those end in May.
Okay, well, just because earlier you were suggesting that it's potential we could have a 1-year September term. So I just,
I was suggesting that if we voted on everything tonight. But again, I mean, we theoretically could vote on everything if there are other vacancies, but right now we just have one vacancy.
As far as I know, we can reorganize the board every month if we wanted to.
Right.
But that puts us out of sync with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's in the end, vote for chair, get that taken care of. That's all said and done. And then when it comes time next year, we do a reorg one more time, and
Just
that'll
in the
get us
normal
back that'll get us back into the groove with everything.
In this appointment for chair tonight, you could say until the reevaluate, or not reevaluation, but the reorganization of the board
Mhm.
at the regular time in May.
Yeah.
You wouldn't even have to say that, because it would go along with that because next time there's a reorg, it's a reorg. You know, in the grand scheme of things, we can reorganize everything tonight. We could if we wanted to, but we don't
Right.
have to because we already have standing membership.
Well, this is what I would like to do. I would like to be just a member. And the reason for that is I've been, a vice chair and an acting chair for a number of years, but I'd like to see it rotate throughout the board members just to round out the experience. And basically I would like to be, a member, become, a member, a voting member, after tonight.
So you want to get, so you want somebody to take over vice chair. You want to give up
Right.
you want to give up the chair, the vice chair.
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's two positions that we have to discuss tonight.
Right, well, just a potential problem. The only thing that was advertised is the chair position.
But isn't it just up for us to decide? We don't need the public input on this.
Yeah. This is that.
If it's not on the agenda, we can't address it.
He's got a point.
What's the agenda say? Does it just say board reorganization?
I got it right here. The zoning board of appeals
Looking at
chair
it.
position and potential change to a once-a-month meeting schedule. So she got whoever wrote this up. I'm assuming it was Allison. She got very specific on this.
If,
It was the only thing open at the time for conversation, so.
It doesn't matter. It's not.
what,
True.
I'm just saying it's reasonable that it was put that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
I agree, because this is the first time that I've heard it from you, Greg. Which doesn't matter. I mean, we can put this on the agenda for next month for next
Absolutely.
month also.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal. It's very, very simple. Just
If-
contact Allison and say, hey, Greg wants to step down as vice chair. We need to do another reorg next month. Done and done.
Sounds, yeah.
if he stepped down now, tonight, could we appoint someone else to vice chair tonight?
No,
No, it's not, it wasn't advertised. That's the issue.
Oh,
But we can appoint a chair tonight. And then after we do that, then the new chair, then I'm still the vice chair, and so forth on down until we reorg further next month or next meeting or whenever we want.
okay, so it looks like now we have one nomination before us for chair.
mhm.
Unless somebody else wants to, be nominated.
All right, I'll break the ice. I nominate myself.
All right.
I can turn around and I can honestly say, gentlemen, I'm sorry. I screwed up. I'm going through a lot that I was going through a lot that week. And I lost faith, mostly in myself, but it is what it is. We've all had our conversations. I tried to reach out to everybody, and I realized where I screwed up.
You also kind of threw the 4 members under the bus on Concord Street,
I hear you.
you know,
I hear you. If you want to bring that up, Bob, we can start talking about that. I have no problem about it. I have no
No.
problem.
you know, like you said in your letter that you sent out to us, you know, you guys go with what your gut says, what your feelings are,
Mm-hmm.
and that no decision is really wrong. But that in your letter, you said that all 4 of us were wrong
I
to
said, in
grant
what,
that, to grant that.
in what, which are you, which letter are you speaking of, Bob? Because I reached out to all 4 of you individually.
Yes, your individual letter, you said.
Right. I never said that you were wrong. I said that that I had to look back at it, and I realized that you all did what I had always suggested and told you should do. And that's vote your conscience, vote your opinion. And you did that. And I can't say, and I can't call you guys wrong on that. You did what I told you to do. You did what you're supposed to do. I'm not saying you were wrong. I don't agree with it in any way, shape, or form. Not at all. I don't agree with it at all. But it's not for me to agree. It's not for me. You know, I don't believe that that decision was the correct decision. I really don't. And
Rob, I'll tell you something.
I respect your opinion, but my biggest problem was in your resignation letter,
mhm.
you stated that, and that became public record.
I know, I understand that. I
So now,
absolutely
now
understand that.
wait a minute. We have 1 member in a resignation letter that is saying that the rest of the board was wrong in their decision. And
So
you
I can't
cited
have
that
my own,
as part
I
of-
can't have my own opinion?
Yes, you can. But in a resignation letter
Mhm.
that you sent to the Board of Selectmen,
Yes,
which became public record,
yes.
you
Because
state,
I did it purposely. I made sure that Liza got a copy too. I was dead serious. I wanted this over. I was disappointed with everything. But I was also going through some serious stuff on my end too. And unfortunately, I let my emotions get the better of me.
I understand that.
I'd like to actually let Mr. Baker Senior complete his thought. I feel like it was interrupted and not finished.
But the other thing that concerned me, Rob, is if you were having this much trouble up at the town hall, there was 4 other members on the board
Mhm.
that you could have talked to, and maybe we could have tried to help you. Instead of you carrying the burden of the board.
Dude, this was more that you don't get it. This was way more than that. There was way more going on. And I appreciate, honestly, man, I appreciate that. Because we're all supposed, I think I hear where you're coming from. We're all supposed to have each other's backs. You know, and I dig that and I appreciate that. I really do. There was a lot more going on in my life at that point, and unfortunately, I jumped. And it was a difficult decision to make, but I jumped and I probably shouldn't have. Really know I know I shouldn't have, but I did. And now I have to suck it up and I have to accept the consequences. Look, I am not going to oppose anybody else that wants to be chairman. I know in my heart that any one of you could take that position easily. Could take that position without a doubt. It's going to come down to expertise. And as Greg said, maybe it should be rotated. You know, maybe the chair should rotate. Everything should rotate. But Again, it always comes down to experience, knowledge, and understanding. And you only get that by serving as the chair, or doing what I did and picking the brain of the previous chairman 3 to 4 times a week for 10 years. That's how I got all my knowledge. I literally talked to Bob Manzella 3 to 4 times a week. Sit down at Dunkin' Donuts in the morning. Call him when I have a question. Very simple. That's how I got all my knowledge. That's how that and actually reading the chapter 48 of the zoning code. So in the end, if you want to do a rotating, that's great. I think that works. I do think that works. If it's the flavor of the board at this point. If you all want to, if anybody else wants to step up, you got two nominations, basically. You got 2 self-nominations. If you want me, I'll do the very best that I can to just get back into the good graces of the board. That's number 1. Number 2, if you want to go, if you want to go with Bob Baker Sr., I have no problem with that. Honestly, I have no problem with that. It's just what makes me nervous. What makes me nervous is procedurally. Things got to be right on. And Bob, respectfully, I don't believe that you know what the procedures are. I watched the meeting where you guys watched it several times, where you made that decision, that variance decision. You were trying to close you were trying to trying to vote on it before the public hearing was even closed. I mean, it was just, it was ridiculous.
May I speak?
Yeah,
Great,
please.
thank you. So before we had this meeting, I was wondering to myself, who would I support for chairman? Who was, I heard that Mr. Baker Sr. was putting himself up as a nominee for the board. And I knew that, Rob, that you were at the time trying to get back, to come back to the board. And I said to myself at the time, as far as procedurally goes, Rob Rosa knows more procedurally. Between the 2 of them, procedurally, on paper, based on their experience and their expertise on the procedures of the board and how to operate, I would go with Rob Rosa. And at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, Greg's not putting himself up for there, but he answers a lot of questions and gives us a lot of guidance during meetings. And Mr. Baker Jr. doesn't put himself on the board, but he answers a lot of questions and gives us a lot of guidance on how to handle meetings, issues that come up. And I think to myself now, in light of Rob's choice of words on his resignation letter, and I would say, as much as you and I have butted heads, if I had read that letter before you gave it to anybody, I would have told you to rewrite that letter from top to bottom, as much as you and I have butted heads. For all of the vitriol, as far as I'm concerned, all of the bad feelings I've ever walked away from a meeting with you, for the very few times it's happened, I would have said, Rob, rewrite that letter. Don't burn bridges. And your letter, you threw gasoline at that bridge as best you could.
Oh, I threw napalm at it.
Yeah, so in that spirit, I would like, maybe at this point, for Rob, for you not to be chairman, but for you to provide the guidance that the other members have given and these procedural questions. I mean, Mr. Baker's, Senior's already put himself up, and he provides questions. He provides answers to things, regarding the town, but he's already nominated himself. So forgive me for not mentioning the expertise you show on topics. That's not what I was trying to, say. It wasn't trying to, not saying it just because it's not there. I was just trying to say that the non-chair members provide a lot of guidance to our meetings. So at this point, I've changed my mind about Rob Rosa, you becoming the chairman again. And I'd like you to provide the guidance that others provide in their way and help steer the meetings when there might be a procedural question or an error being made to say, I think we need to do it this way or that way, or I think we have to take that into account, because people will listen. We listen to all the members. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm the most ignorant member, so I have the most to listen to. And unfortunately, yeah, I really was before ready to support Rob's reappointment to the chair. If he is chair, I will support that, obviously respectfully, because I already know he can do it. But now I'm ready to have him be a supporting member, as a full member. That's what I got to say right now. Thank
I can
you.
respect that. I can respect that 100%.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
may I be heard?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Obviously, I'm speaking only for myself, but it's very apparent that as each of us read Rob's letter, we tended to take different things from it. For the time that I've been on the board, which is just over 5 years now, we've agreed on far more things, and agreed on far more things unanimously than we've disagreed on things. But I took Rob's comment about that particular action as not so much as a criticism, but as a disagreement on how the rest of us did. We are entitled as board members, as equal members, to disagree with what the other does. Rob just happened to put his disagreement in writing, but I quite honestly was not offended by it. I took it as instruction from somebody who's done this for a heck of a lot longer than I have, and knows a heck of a lot more about it than I do and probably ever will. And in terms of a couple of his other recommendations, I think they were very well taken. Steve, I understand your point about all of us pitching in and sharing the load of chair, but ultimately the chair is the person upon whom the board as a whole has to rely on for guidance, both procedurally and substantively. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, thank you. And I mean, I echo Mr. Baker Jr.'s reaction to the letter. I mean, I've known Rob for decades, so I know where he was coming from. I knew that he was under a lot of stress. I didn't know the particulars of it. And, I too was torn by that decision, because a lot of it, I felt, it was a bit aggressive with his variances. And then part of it, I felt that we, had entertained other arguments that they had made early on. And, I was torn by that decision. And the board felt, a certain way. So I went that way with the board, out of respect for the board. But there was a part of me that I really felt like I was probably weak in that I didn't go the opposite way. If I voted I was really on the fence. If I went the opposite way against the board, that would have been denied. And we probably wouldn't be having this discussion right now. So, I mean, in some ways, I feel I'm responsible. Part of it is I'm responsible for myself. I mean, I did vote my conscience, but there's a part of the technical element of it that, I probably, I don't know. Probably would have been more justifiable if I had denied it, but I didn't. I understood where the board was coming from, and out of respect for the board, I went with the board. And I didn't feel bad about it, but that was my conscience, but my head was saying something different. And I know I don't know, I was very torn about that decision. I can understand why Rob was upset. I don't agree with the course of action that he took about being upset, but I do understand how he's, was upset. I mean, I've been, there's been cases where I felt like my voice wasn't being heard or carrying the weight, and sometimes it's easy to go down the wrong track. And I mean, I'm a different person. We're all different, and I mean, I kind of kept it to myself, but I understand where Rob came from. I mean, I don't agree with how he did it, but I understand what he went through, and he did go through a lot. Rob is a very passionate person. He does his homework. He's an exceptionally knowledgeable guy. He's very, very solid in his understanding, and he's very approachable too. I mean, he will carefully consider an opposing argument. And I mean, there's a lot of things there that that he has to offer. Nobody's perfect, certainly not me. None of us are. So, I just want to put that out there for the board to, consider.
So how do we proceed from here? We haven't had a reorg like this in a while. So
I would make as the next step a motion that the nominations for the position of chair of the zoning board of appeals be closed. And if that motion's approved, then there'd be a vote.
Oh, all right. Anybody willing to want to make a motion to close this procedural portion?
I just did. I made a motion to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Any second? Anybody second?
Second,
Bob Baker Jr., Senior seconded. Roll call vote, all in favor. Mr. Baker Senior,
yes.
Mr. Baker Jr.,
Yes.
Mr. Galley,
Yes.
Mr. Rosa,
yes.
and myself is a yes.
That having been carried, the next step would be to poll the members for their vote.
Okay, well, all right. Mr. Galley, would you like to cast a vote for the chairman?
All right, so I'll state the name that I'm in favor of blank as chairman.
Mhm.
Correct.
Is that what I'm doing?
That would do it, yes.
Okay, good. I just want to steal some words or butcher them to say, with all due respect, I have respect for all members of the board, regardless of the outcome. At this time, I'm in favor of Robert Baker Sr. as chairman.
Duly noted. Mr. Baker Jr.,
I cast my vote for Rob Rosa.
Rob Rosa. Okay. So I'm the deciding vote.
Well, Rob and Bob haven't voted yet.
Well, I assume they're
Well,
I
voting.
hear where Greg's going. He's assuming that I'm voting for myself.
Right.
Mr. Baker Senior is gonna vote for himself.
Well,
It just still need to be called upon to vote.
We should never assume. If you ever saw the movie Election,
yeah, all right. So, Mr. Robert Baker, would you cast your vote?
I'll vote for myself.
Okay, and Mr. Robert Rosa, would you cast your vote?
I would also like to vote for myself.
Okay. So that leaves me with the deciding vote. I too would like to thank both of both members, Mr. Baker Senior and Mr. Rosa, for stepping up and wanting to serve in the capacity of the chairman. It's not an easy job, and it's a tough decision. I think both candidates are exceptionally qualified, and so at this juncture in the with the board, I think the board would be best served with Mr. Rosa, so I cast my vote to Mr. Rosa, and that is no reflection on Mr. Baker Senior. I mean, I have a lot of respect for you, Mr. Baker Senior, and I know that you would do a really good job. And I hope that your health and everything proceeds quickly and steadily. And but I really thank both of you for stepping up and wanting to serve. I think both of you are excellent candidates. And and I thank both of you for that, for your service.
And Greg, I think you also need to announce the results of the vote just to make it formal.
So the announce of the result, the announce of the vote would be that Mr. Robert Rosa will be taking the position of chairman of the zoning board. And so,
thank you. Thank you, Greg. I did not mean to interrupt you. I just want to say one thing. Next month, if we're going to do the reorg, where you want to step down as vice chair, I would recommend that Mr. Baker Senior take that position.
I would cast my nomination there. I think it would be a good team. I think that Mr. Baker's availability is a great asset. Probably will be a great asset for you. And I think there'll be a lot of that combo will result in a lot of mutual advancement and knowledge and education. And I think iron sharpens iron, as they say, and I think it'd be good for the board.
I agree with every word that Greg just said.
Just so you guys know, I did talk to you all about this. I said all this to you, that there's going to be some training coming up. It's Steve, I'd like to think that this is going to be the in-depth training that you've kind of been looking for since you got on the board. We're talking chapter 40A. We're talking open meeting, ethics, everything that every board member, not just zoning, but everything that every board member should know, plus the addition of the zoning companion for chapter 40A and all the different 40s out there. Because there's not just 40A, it goes all the way up to 40Y.
well, I'm ready, willing, able to learn. I'm just concerned about the way the subject is broached. But I'm open to learning, and I'm open to whatever courses are offered.
Yeah, it's just it has to be for all of our cities. because things change way too often. And there have been changes to the open meeting law that we're not even subject to. I mean, not subject to that we don't even know of, because we don't have monthly, yearly, quarterly updates on how all of this stuff comes together. So I think that all of that needs to happen for all of our sakes.
If I may, since I've been laid up and going over the zoning bylaws, and I also found that our policies and procedures of the zoning board have not been updated for 45 years.
Mhm.
Last time it was updated was 1980. So I think we should probably have Allison send us a copy of those and look at them and
Mhm.
set a time later on in the year to go over those. Because there's some things in there that, Steve, you're supposed to be the secretary. You're supposed to be writing the minutes. You're supposed to be putting them into the town clerk and all that, along with the chairman. Not someone else doing it. So I think we have to look at, because back then we had our own secretary for the zoning board that did the minutes. She put them in. But we gotta change a lot of things in there that. And also, there's things in there that tell us how the meeting is supposed to run and things. But if you look at it, it's well outdated. It's,
How often does it talk about email?
I'm sorry,
I said, how often does it talk about email?
Oh, email? Yeah.
Yeah.
It
I'm
doesn't-
thinking that it doesn't.
Right.
Right.
It doesn't talk about,
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't talk about Zoom, doesn't talk about anything like
I
that.
think ARPANET was still a state.
electronic filings or any of that stuff, so.
No, there's more that there's a lot that needs to happen. There's a lot that does need to happen. And the board, prior to me getting on there, and I think maybe even prior to Greg getting on there. Because wasn't Candy the secretary even before?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes.
she was before Greg, she was before you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the board had elected just per chapter 40A, the board elected to have a recording secretary. But apparently they never changed the rules and regs for their own personal rules and regs.
Right.
So, technically we've had, I mean, Allison has been, first it was Deb. Deb took over the position of the recording secretary, and then Allison had to take that over. So there's budgetary money set aside for it. There's actually there's a job posting for the zoning board's recording secretary.
because when I was chairing the planning board, we had our own secretary too.
Yeah. So that's just that's how it's been. That's how it's been. And I know, and again, it was a decision by the zoning board at the time. Because prior to that, just like you said, the secretary would have been taking all the notes and doing this, that, the other thing. But they made the decision. They did that. They never updated their rules or their personal rules and regs. So we're gonna have to do that.
They are interesting. When I read it once and then I went over it again and I said, we can't do that.
Right.
How can we do that? It was just way outdated. So those have to be really, we should just set up all new ones.
All right.
But I think if we got a copy of it from Allison, for everybody to go over, you can pull it up on the, I believe you can pull it up on the website too,
Yep.
and look at it and, you know. I think Mr. Baker Jr. will get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it is right on the zone. I saw it today, actually. There was, it's on the zoning board's webpage.
Oh.
On the town's page. It is definitely there.
So,
Thank
right.
you for bringing that to our attention, Bob. Appreciate it.
Mr. Tansey, since you're the one who's running this meeting, what are we doing now?
Make a motion to adjourn.
We haven't discussed changing to once a month.
Oh,
I mean,
did any of you guys make that suggestion?
no, I mean,
All right.
I'm in favor of it.
Oh, I'd
it'll
be
be
in
a
favor
long
of it.
night. It'll be a long night.
Well, see, here's the thing. I would be in favor of it too, assuming that, like what Greg just said, the nights didn't carry on forever. I mean, we can only really hear, what, 3, if we're lucky?
Right.
You know, we can really only hear 3 and still have enough time to deliberate before the 10 o'clock. You know, but because I think what did we say before 10:30?
Yeah,
We try to get out. We try to.
10:30.
Was it 10:30?
Was 10:30 when they shut it off.
So we would try to just like end things at 10:30 so we don't ever get caught in that same situation. But the other problem that I saw with having only once a month, and this is my biggest concern, the statutory requirements when it comes to filing.
Right,
To
that's
get
what I was gonna
65
say.
days. All right, you have 65 days from the date stamp.
Right,
But that doesn't necessarily work. Granted, 65 days, that's a month and no, that's 3 months and change, correct?
2 months and change.
2 months and change. All right, so it's 2 months, so it's 2 months and change. That doesn't necessarily work because, again, we're looking at people that will take their information directly to the town clerk and get it stamped in ASAP. They'll bypass everyone because
Right.
we don't have our own rules and regulations, nor do we have our own, we were talking about this before, the application rules and the application regulations, that needs to be updated too. Because what's been discussed is the potential for a pre-filing conference, I guess you could call it, or pre-filing meeting. Basically to get the applicant in, not on a time deadline, because once you stamp it, that's when the ticker starts.
Right.
So to get them in an informal, to sit them down with anybody that would be concerned, you know, just say, this is the meeting, here's the date, here's the time. Municipally, anybody that's concerned about this application, show up to the meeting. If nobody shows up to the meeting, then it'll be me for the zoning, or if anybody else wants to show up from zoning. So anybody from zoning will show up. Allison would be there, applicant would be there. If it's something that's going to go along with the planning board, a planning board representative, whether it's the chair or the vice chair would show up. And we get a chance to just rip the application apart and find out what's going to work, what's not going to work, and see if we can guide them in the right direction to get their application kind of correct and complete and passable. You know, if it's not going to work, it's not going to work right from the get. But
we used to do that in the planning board. We'd have like a round table.
We still do that. We would, who was it? It was John and myself had been doing that forever, even prior to me getting chair for, you know, my first chair. We were doing that. Who was it? Manzella and Tom Henderson. They were doing that. You know, they were constantly doing that. That's been a procedure for a while, but with the changing of the guard and everything, it never really, that procedure never went anywhere. And again, John was usually the one, because John usually was the one that knew about this first, because most of the time they're coming in that way. If somebody came in with a larger special permit application, Deb would end up putting it together. Now I think Allison's trying to get that together. I don't think we've only done like one or two, but I still think Deb had most of the do. But that's something that we're trying to get together, because again, 65 days, if it's already stamped in, this meeting and possible revisions to required revisions to the plan. I mean, there's a lot that can eat up that 65 days. And if we ever get into a situation where, and it's 2 weeks, it's the final 2 weeks or the final 2.5, maybe 3 weeks, we're basically worried about constructive approval. That's my biggest fear on only specifically going to one meeting a month, or one hearing date a month, is the possibility of constructive approval. We've never had a constructive approval, and I don't want to have and I don't ever want to have one. So that would be my reasoning for not specifically stating that we're only going to one hearing a month. I would prefer that there were only one hearing a month. I think we all would.
Well, we could put down for 2 hearings a month, but if nothing's on the agenda, Allison says there's nothing.
Yeah.
For that
Oh,
date.
yeah, we don't have to. No,
We-
as long as it's not advertised, we don't have to have it.
Right.
As long as it's not advertised, we don't have to have it. If it's
Yeah,
advertised,
If we get an application and we continue it to the next meeting, now we're putting more in the next meeting.
that's the problem. It's always dependent on schedule. It's always dependent on schedule.
Right.
Well,
So,
and it's related to what's already been discussed. But if we were to reduce to one meeting a month, we are not just in fact, reducing the public's opportunity by 50% to come before us. If we're having one meeting a month, as has already been suggested, there are likely more applications to be dealt with in any given meeting. So theoretically, it's someone who might be able to get something on in a month might have to wait 2 or 3 months before it's heard.
which is not unheard of in the industry.
Well, I understand that, but I don't see a necessity to take that position for
I
the sole
agree.
reason of thinking that if we do have only one scheduled meeting a month, it's somehow going to be more attractive to people to apply to be alternate members, which they might think it is until they're meeting until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
Been
Well-
there before.
The one thing happened, like I wasn't a voting member, but from the day I started, and I think Mr. Baker Jr., you had Shingle Mill. So we had so many extra meetings because of Shingle Mill.
Oh, yeah.
40Bs were like just eating up the calendar meetings over and over and over again. So I feel
Didn't
like
we have 3 going at the same time, Steve? You'd remember. I mean, we
I
had 3
remember
going.
3 of them at the same time. I think because I think Concord Street, the schoolhouse apartments, and Shingle Mill were simultaneous for an overlap.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I was there for a 4th,
Okay.
but those 3 I think had an overlap.
Yeah.
But there was always a couple at the same time.
Mhm.
And I actually agree with the concept that if we did have them once a month, and that was what attracted somebody to join, then all of a sudden we found we had to go to twice a month, they'd be like, "Oh, this stinks. I don't want to do this anymore."
Yeah, I'd
You know?
rather, I would think it would be better for them to see it at its worst,
Yeah.
you know?
I would like to see then the idea of trying to push our agenda to try to like meet once a month, but have it as twice a month. So like, okay, every time there's something to come up, can we push it to the first Tuesday of the next month? Just like try to see if we can make it work that way more often than not. Do the requirements fit that way. We not, does it seem like it's a complicated application? I mean, I know things can surprise us sometimes. We have gone around in circles on the most minute detail because it comes up, especially if there's public interest, but sometimes we just go on and back and forth about something. But I'd like to think maybe we could just try to, if we continue the twice a month as we have been, first and third, just try to steer us towards the first of every month and just try to see how that works,
So basically go to the second, third week in the month, go to the third Tuesday in the month as for emergency purposes.
Right, if we had something on the first meeting of the month and we needed to continue, we could continue to the third Tuesday, and we'd have plenty of time to advertise.
But typically that's not enough time. So that's the problem. Anytime somebody continues, it's usually to fix a problem with a plan or because they need to gather more information and stuff like that. And usually 2 weeks isn't enough to do that. That's why we always end up giving them, a minimum of the 30 days. And if they're there, then we ask them, is 30 days enough? And they usually say, yeah, or no, maybe we should go 60 days or something like that.
Well, we
But
could push them
typically
to
we always go 30.
the following month too.
Yeah.
On the third, depending on what we have on the first Tuesday,
Mm-hmm.
But
I
I
like
think,
the idea on emergency
I
purposes.
think Allison has to know that they shut us off at 10:30.
Oh, she was a part of that. She was she wasn't at the meeting, but she was,
She
you know,
knew that
yeah,
happened.
she knew about it. She was in play for the whole thing. So she does know that. I like the idea of the emergency purposes. If we've got a full boat on the first on the first Tuesday, if we've got a full boat and there's one or two stragglers, okay, they're on the first of the next month of the following month. And get it to a point where if we see ourselves all of a sudden out 3 months, then maybe we got to look at this and say, hey, maybe we should throw another one in there. Because she's not going to, basically the advertisement and agenda. The agenda cannot be touched after 48 hours prior to the hearing. Anything prior to that, it can be modified, it can be changed, everything's fine. Advertisement is a minimum of 2 weeks prior to the hearing. So that never goes out until 2 weeks prior to the hearing. So if we get an application in tomorrow, but we've already got 3 where's my calendar here? We've already got 3 let's say we already have 3 for the 7th. If it was a simple, easy something or other, if it wasn't a special permit and like a highly contested special permit or something like that, if it's a no-brainer, it can be. I can go over with Allison and figure out what's going to be a no-brainer and what's not going to be a no-brainer. And we can put it out and then she can put it out to the board members and say, look, we have this person that just came in. We have enough time to put it on this date. It should be an absolute no-brainer. Is everybody okay with having one on the 23rd? Is the 23rd of this month or something? There's a possibility that we can make that happen. As long as everybody can remain flexible and we don't ever get into a situation where there's a constructive approval, then I think we're okay and we can probably still live with 1 meeting a month, except for emergency purposes. Emergency purposes or something to lighten the load or, lessen the burden by a quick, easy carry street. If all of a sudden another carry street falls in our laps again.
Yeah, I mean, how we sort things among our meetings is entirely up to us.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't need to memorialize that as part of a motion.
Right.
So with that in mind, I'd make a motion that we maintain our twice a month schedule.
And if we
Second.
don't, and if we can get away and not have a meeting,
Oh,
then we don't have the
if
meeting.
there's nothing on. See you next time.
That is. I would second that motion, 100%. Gregor, you're still running this area? You're still running this
Yeah,
this
all right,
part of the
so-
meeting?
All right, all in favor, roll call vote, Mr. Baker Senior,
Yes,
Mr. Baker Junior,
Yes,
Mr. Galley,
Yes,
Mr. Rosa,
Yeah, absolutely, yes.
and I'm a yes. So I think that's everything.
Mhm.
motion to adjourn.
second,
Motion to adjourn, seconded by Mr. Rosa, all in favor, Mr. Baker Junior,
yes.
Mr. Baker Senior,
Yes,
Mr. Galley,
yes.
Mr. Rosa, and I'm a yes too.
Yes, I'm a yes, and you're a yes too. All right, before you close the meeting, or before you turn off the meeting, thank you, gentlemen. I'm not gonna let you down. I swear to God. This was. Thank you for giving me a
Welcome back,
chance.
Mr. Chairman.
Welcome back.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Rob. Thank you. So Rob, when you turn off a meeting,
Mhm.
do you just log off like you normally do, or?
Lower, at least this is the way it is on my screen. Lower right-hand side, there should be something that says like leave or end meeting or something like that.
Well, it says end with
If you
a.
tag end, then something else should come up that says end for you or end for all or something like that.
Okay. All right.
All right,
So if you did end for all, that should be it.
Okay. Very good.
all right. Well, thank you,
All right.
everyone. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. We'll see you
Thank
next
very
time.
much.
Rock and roll.
Appreciate the board and everyone.
You-
Good night, everyone.
good night.